Sunday, it's Chi back again, taking you through today's workout. Hope you're all well. On the menu today, we've got Sumo deadlift high pull, and we're going to be supersetting that with some standing upright rows. And then for the workout, we've got a long chipper. It's a 21-minute time cap, so a nice long one for a Sunday. And that's going to encompass 50 hand release push-ups, 50 front rack squats, just a weight in one arm, so single arm, 50 single arm devil press, 50 toes to weight, and 50 overhead single arm reverse lunges. It's a nice spicy one. We did it this morning. It took us around 16 minutes. Zoe just pipped me to it. If you want to have someone to work out with you and you don't have anyone at home, then feel free to go to the other link, the Facebook page, and do the workout alongside watching the video of Zoe and I suffering with you. So the strength piece for today is the Sumo deadlift high pull, so like this, and then the single arm inverted row, which we're going to superset, so one arm and then the other. Ideally you would have a kettlebell or a dumbbell, but if you don't have one of those, then you can just grab a suitcase or a bag, load it up with a decent bit of weight, and you can use that instead. If you'll just indulge me for a little bit, I want to spend a little moment talking about hip hinge, and I want this to be something that you constantly think about through the strength piece today and also during the workout. And what do we mean by hip hinge? Hip hinge is a way for us to bring our chest closer to the ground without flexing over. It's a way for us to keep our back nice and tall and bring our chest lower to the ground so that when we pick up the weight, our back will be fully straightened in its natural position. And that begs the question, why is that so important? So if you have a quick look at the board, I'll try and explain that now. We've got a cantilever crane, and by hinging our hip and keeping our back in our neutral spine, that's the equivalent of loading that cantilever up with struts. Whereas if we flex over, we aren't providing that structural support. So that means that when that weight gets pulled through, when you try and lift up that weight from the bottom and you're pulling on that arm, what's going to happen is when that weight first comes on, you're going to waste a lot of that energy just creating more flexion in the cantilever. And that means that not only are you wasting energy, but you're also putting yourself in a more vulnerable position, and meaning that you'll be more prone to injury. So I'll explain how to achieve that as we go through the warm-up, which is going to be very much centered around that. So to the warm-up, we're going to start first with 10 cat camels. So you're just going to allow your back to arch up and then look up and flatten it off. Really exaggerate, especially that extension, and try and get that proprioceptive understanding of what it feels like for your back to be overextended and overarched. We need 10 reps of that, then we're going to do 20 reps of the dead bug. Dead bug starts with us lying on the floor. Try and get the small of your back in contact with the floor. Hands are up, your knees are at 90 degrees, and alternating arms and legs. You're going to reach one foot to the floor, trying to get it just off the floor, and one arm backwards just above the ground. So that's 1 rep, that's 2, that's 3, and so on and so forth. Really trying to make sure we engage our core through that movement. And then on to the third part of the warm-up, which is the good morning. So with the good morning, I want you to make sure that you start off by creating a slight bend in your knees, pushing your knees outwards, which is going to create a little bit of space in your hips, which is going to allow your pelvis to rotate forwards or anteriorly rotate. And that's going to allow now, as I bend over that good morning, keep my back in a nice flat position. So we're going to go For a tempo good morning, 2 seconds down, really trying to slowly bring chest to the floor whilst keeping my back nice and straight. As soon as you feel like there's tension in your hamstrings or your back wants to round off, you stop there, just pause for a second and then fire back up. And you're going to do 10 reps of that. And then the final part of the warm-up is going to be 10 reps each leg of a single leg Romanian deadlift. So again, small bend in your knee. So I'm going to do it standing on my right foot first, small bend. I'm going to reach down with the opposite arm that's on the floor, and that's going to make me, or allow me to keep my hips as square as possible. I'm slowly going to reach over as far down as I can without flexing over my back, trying to keep my hips nice and square. So if that's just the middle of your shin, it's just the middle of your shin, standing all the way up. 10 reps on one leg, 10 reps on the other leg, and then you're going to do 2 rounds of that. Hopefully now you're nice and warm, you've got your core engaged, and you've got some understanding of what we mean by that hip hinge, which brings us nicely on to our strength piece, which is the Sumo deadlift high pull. So I'm going to do all the demonstration today with the suitcase. For the Sumo deadlift, I want you to go quite wide with your feet, your toes pointed out about 30 degrees. You're pushing your knees out, creating that space in your hip. You're going to push your bottom back, create that hinging over whilst keeping your back nice and flat, overarching up. Reach down for your weight, and with that Sumo deadlift, the movement's first going to start by you snapping your hips up, squeezing your glutes, and then once and only once you've done that can you then pull up that weight all the way up to your chin or around your collarbone. That's the Sumo deadlift high pull. The next part that we're going to be supersetting as part of our workout is the inverted row, or the standing row. And what we're going to be focusing on is, whilst your back's statically held in that hip hinge position, as you put load through, trying to maintain that position as well as you can, really trying to force yourself to hold that position as you're putting load in through your arms. So bringing that weight and your fist right to the side of your chest, but really focusing throughout this movement on keeping that hip hinge and that position in your back. And what we're going to do for this, you're going to just grab yourself a timer. You're going to go 40 seconds of doing the Sumo deadlift high pull. You're going to pause for 20 seconds. You're then going to do 20 seconds of rowing on one arm, 20 seconds rowing with another arm, then another 20 seconds rest, so that should be 2 minutes in total, and you're going to do 5 rounds of that. Really focus on the quality of the movement to start with, and then as you get more comfortable with that movement, you can then start thinking towards the latter 2 rounds of really trying to accelerate through and maximising the number of reps you get in that 40 seconds of work. So now we're on to the workout of the day, which is 50 hand released push-ups, 50 squats, 50 single arm devil press, 50 toes to weight, 50 reverse lunges, single arm overhead reverse lunges. So I'll show you now each one of those movements and the different variations you can do depending on the instruments that you've got with you. First one's nice and simple, it's the hand release push-up. So should all know that now. Chest all the way to the floor, try and keep your core engaged and hips off the floor when you touch down. So chest on the floor, release up all the way through. You can obviously do that on your knees if you need to, and also if you struggle with that, or if you struggle with somewhere in between, then just grab a book. Chest to the book, hands off the floor, still keeping your hips up, push all the way through. So 50 of those, it's quite a lot of reps. Next one is the squat. So ideally we're going to say with a dumbbell or a kettlebell, you're going to go single arm front rack squats below parallel all the way up at the top, 25 on one arm and 25 on the other. If you don't have heavy enough dumbbell, You can go 2 water bottles on your shoulders. You can do that. If this weight is particularly heavy for you, then you can either hold it in the front right position or on the back of your shoulders. And then also I'll show you that now with the suitcase again. So just hug the suitcase or the bag and squat all the way down. So it's 50 reps of that. The third movement is the single arm devil press, which looks like this. So with the dumbbell, it starts off with the burpee, stand all the way up, and then it's ground to overhead, ideally in a snatch, but if you need to, you can also go to the shoulder and then push press or push jerk through. If you've got 2 light weights, then just use both of those and it'll be double arm. With the bag. And then also I'll show you with a dumbbell, with a kettlebell. It'll be either, if this is not too heavy a weight for you, a snatch, or if it is particularly heavy weight, then you can go American kettlebell swing, or even Russian kettlebell swing. The fourth movement is the toes to weight, so it's simulating a toes to bar. You'll lie on the floor, grabbing the weight at the top. Each rep starts with your heels on the floor, and you'll raise your feet to that weight. You can either keep your legs straight, and that will be harder, or you can bring your knees to your chest and flick your feet at the top. If you don't have a significant enough weight, you can also just grab either the side of a piece of furniture or just do a V up. That now brings us on to the final movement, which is the single arm overhead reverse lunge. So with the dumbbell, single arm up, try and keep your biceps close to your ears, just one arm, knee touching the floor at the bottom, stand all the way up, alternating each leg. Try and do 25 on one arm, 25 on the other arm. Don't have to do all 25 at once, you can split it 5 and 5 and keep alternating through. The other variations on that are 2 weights overhead, plate overhead, or even just hugging that weight and doing those lunges. And there you go, that's today's workout. It's should be a nice long spicy one for a Sunday. Hope you enjoy it. Zoe and I are going to do this before you've been watching this video, so you'll see now. Louisa will put down our scores so you know which times to beat, and otherwise enjoy it.